Hey, everybody, welcome back. Kevin, OG, Original Grognard, sitting down in the OG Original Grognard, sitting down in the, well, let's go ahead and give this a try. The super secret Grognard bunker. It's actually just my table in my living room. Sitting down here playing Lock and Load Publishing, Mark Walker's design, World at War 85, the expansion, Death of the First Panzer, Scenario 3, Wittmans Ghost. Almost forgot the scenario name there. We are stepping into turn 2 right here. Not much happened last turn. Basically, we got the end of turn marker after one formation activated, so not really much of anything happened. So let's go ahead and just jump into this. We got our super secret opaque cup of formation chit pulling. And what's the first one we got? Designated formation. Okay, so according to the scenario special rules, designated formation is actually first tank. Let's go ahead and check that just to make sure, because we know how I tend to mess things up. Designated formation markers placed in the cup at the beginning of turn 2 when the first tank formation marker is placed in the cups. Treats like any other formation marker when the designated formation marker is pulled. The first tank receives an impulse. In other words, the first tank might activate twice per turn. All right, so we also know that they're going to be entering along this road right here. So let's just go ahead and we can stack 2 units. Recon first. Yeah, recon tends to be the first thing that goes out. Let's see what the headquarters range is 4. So we're going to have to make sure we keep an eye and try to keep everybody, the formations, within 4 hexes of each other for command radius. Obviously, when a formation starts off board, they're all in command, so you don't need to roll command. So let's go ahead. He's got to move to 7. 1, 2, 3. Where do we want to push the first tank? Do we want to push the first tank up this way or down this way? I think we're going to push the first tank up this way to engage the leopards. So 1, 2, 3. What's wheeled to move? Now, one thing unlike other games that I've noticed, you don't get the road bonus inside villages or towns unless there's an actual road connecting the hex sides that you're moving across. So since there is not that, and we're gonna, what is city? 2 for infantry, 1 for infantry, 2 for vehicle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to move to there because there's not a road right there, as we notice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, you know what? Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's kind of keep recon keeping an eye this way. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so T-72's got movement of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know what I forgot? Where's my measuring device? Because I need to check for line of sight. Where's a good measuring device for me to use? Nope, that's not long enough. Be right back. It's kind of funny. The other day when I was sitting down and realized I didn't have an LOS device, I thought to myself, I really need to go dig out an LOS device. And I completely forgot about it when I got it from the table. So, actually, these rubber bands are crap as well. Oh my god. All right. We'll go old school. Let's see. So there is going to be, looks like there's going to be line of sight if the tanks move into here, which will trigger opportunity fire from the leopards. Let's check that again just to make sure. we're going to say it doesn't clip those wood lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the leopard, this leopard right here is going to go ahead and fire. Oh, yeah, I forgot to do that. Now we got ops complete on the recon unit. And since the headquarters unit is going to be firing, we're going to mark them ops complete. Now, what does a headquarters unit do for a unit that is stacked with it? Combat, formation markers, support teams, mortars, headquarters. Yeah, headquarters leadership. Add their leadership rating to 1 firepower or assault for 1 attacking unit in their hex. Okay. They add their leadership rating to the firepower. Okay. So let's take a look at what we got here. Okay, so we've got a leopard and a leopard headquarters. We're firing armor piercing, so it is a range of 9. I'm sure within range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just barely in range. Range of 9. 4, 5. Am I reading that right? No, 4, 3. I have to use my camera to zoom in because the font is so okay. 4, 3. So 4 dice with a 3 target number, but I can use the headquarters rating, which is the 2. That's the headquarters rating. Fairly certain that's the headquarters. Yep, that's the leadership rating. So I can increase my firepower. Let's make sure we're reading that right, because this is one rule I always get wrong with headquarters. Nope, not there. Oh God, I was just looking at it. There we go. May add their leadership rating to the firepower or assault factor if assaulting to any 1 attacking unit in the hex. Well, there's only 1 unit in there in the hex with, and their leadership rating is a 2, so they get to add that onto the firepower. And the firepower is the number of dice. So the leopard gets 4. But he gets +2 for being stacked with the headquarters. So that's going to give it 6 dice. 5, 6. And we're looking at a target number 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 hits. Actually not a real good roll, but 50-50. I guess that's about right. So 3 hits. Now the T-72 has to roll its saves. If you take a look at the armor of the T-72, is 4 dice at a 6. So it gets 4 dice to roll. It needs a target number 6 to eliminate 1 of the hits that the unit took. So let's just go ahead and use a dice to mark because I'm going to forget how many hits the unit took. But we're in a city, so that gives us a little bit extra defense. So when we're in the city, we get 1 extra dice for being a vehicle unit. So we get 5 dice at 6s. And since I'm rolling so many dice, I should probably use a bigger cup because that's going to get really annoying after a bit. So let's just go ahead and roll it here. So 6, we got 1 6, which cancels 1 of the hits. So 1 of the units takes 2 hits. Now remember, unit to unit is combat. So 1 tank unit can fire at 1 enemy unit. So it doesn't matter. They're both full strength. We take 2 hits. The first hit disrupts them. The second hit reduces them to their reduced side. So take one of your disrupted markers, throw it on there, and we'll put him on the bottom. And that's combat. Pretty simple. Probably one of the easier combat systems. A couple little nuances in it, but that's about it. Now, each unit can only be fired at, or is it each unit or is it each stack? I believe. Oh, see, these are the little nuances that always get me. Opportunity fire. opportunity. Okay. Opportunity fire is a form of combat occurring during enemy unit's movement if an enemy unit moves within the line of sight of range of a good order unit that is not marked with an ops complete. Okay, so by unit. So, and each unit can only be fired at once per hex that it moves into. So what does that mean? What was the point I was getting to? This other leopard back here can fire at the other T-72 that just moved into the city hex. But this time I think it's going to be at long range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's a 10. So that's going to be extended range. And extended range reduces the firepower or the to hit. Extended range. Yeah, so it's the to hit. So, no, let's go ahead and not shoot because I have a feeling, well, there's going to be more T-72s showing up. So let's not shoot that unit yet. All right, so go ahead with the next units, and since we can have 2 units per, I could be moving them one at a time, but we'll just do it at a stack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the other leopard unit will take the opportunity. And again, as you can see, I'm going to run out of ops complete markers very soon. So we're going to go ahead and fire with the other leopard. And they are, we just saw the counter, but let's take a look at it again. It's a 4-3. So it's 4 dice to hit a 3. It's not stacked with a headquarters unit, but it's at extended range. So its to hit goes up by, quick test, 1 or 2. Goes up by 1. So we're looking at 4 dice at a 4 to hit. Four dice is about the maximum I think I can roll in that cup. Okay, so 2 hits. So she gets 2 hits. Let's go ahead. Can't split fire, so all the hits have to be applied to 1 unit. So 2 hits, and again, the T-72 is 4 dice for defense, but it's in a city, so it gets a 5th dice, and we're looking at a target number of 6. And, all right, so there's 1 right there. There's 1 right there, so we made 1 armor save, which reduces the number of hits it takes to a 1. 1 hit is disrupted. So let's go ahead and put a disrupted marker on one of the units. And there we go. Now, obviously, the Luch, the armored car, only has a range of, only has a range of 3. And it could do extended fire. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, right about here, but I don't think any T-72s are going to be getting that close. All right, you know what? I need to check something. Moving fire. Let's see, T-72 moving fire. Is it half movement or they move everything and then can fire? Moving fire. Yeah, up half their movement. Okay, so since we move more than half their movement, they can't fire as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we got to make sure headquarters unit is right here. Command radius is 4, as long as everybody's within 4 hexes. Next turn, they'll all be in command range, so I don't have to worry about rolling command and control. All right, so now that was the end of the first tank. Now we mix up our handy-dandy super secret opaque cup and draw another chit. All right, we got one of the West German formations. Oh, helps if I don't drop it on the floor and lose it. How did it go? Oh, there it is. Oh, it's running away. So I wish this thing would autofocus. I don't know why it does. 3 174 Panzer. All right, so 3 174 Panzer activates. And that would be these leopard formations up here. Check for command and control. Everybody's within the command radius. Then, just make sure we're doing this right. Check for command. Check for rally. Nobody's disrupted. And remove. Let's see. Yep, remove all ops. So even though they op fired, it's now their turn. Or it's now their formation activation, so they get their ops completed markers removed. So now they can do something. What do we want to do? Well, obviously we want to shoot at the T-72s again. But do we want to move and fire to try to get ourselves in better position? I think we do. Can the leopards even move and fire? Let's take a look at the command. See. They need to have an underlined under their HE. Yep, they've got an underlined under their HE. So they can do move and fire. So they can move half their move. And their movement is 5. So they can move 3 and still shoot. Now, where do they want to go? I could call in artillery. I've got a headquarters unit and a loose unit, the recon. They can call in artillery. I could call into some DPICM. I've got 1 strike of that I could use. Yeah, let's have the recon unit go ahead and call in the DPICM. They're going to go ahead and call it in right there. And we have to roll to see if it actually lands on target. Now, you got to remember, special rule, normally on a 1 through 5 it hits, and 6 it'll shift 1 hex. But with the special rule is, if I roll a 5, then the radio jamming happens and they can't get the comms through. I don't lose the artillery, but I can't use the artillery. 1 through 4 is normal. 6, all right, well, that was wasted. That was a wasted shot. That goes away. So the DPIC, I want to make sure. Something, I'm fairly certain. Yeah, 1 artillery strike. Let's check the scenario one more time just to make sure I didn't muck that up. Yep. 1 DPICM, 1 HE strike. Okay, so we rolled a 6. It missed and shift 1 hex. Now, the opponent, or basically the guy who's getting shot at, gets to decide where the artillery lands. And we'll go ahead and put the artillery strike right there. And it doesn't hurt anybody. And that was a wasted shot. So, now, recon units and headquarters units, if they call an artillery strike, can still move, I believe. Yeah, they may move, direct fire, or assault in the same formation impulse, but they must call artillery as their first action. So we did the recon, and I think the recon doesn't want to stay out getting shot at, so they're going to bug out a little bit. They're going to go here 1, and what is it for a vehicle to move into woods? 2 for vehicle. 2, 3. Now, this comes into an interesting question. It's a stream. Is it considered a stream hex, or is it considered a woods hex? Because it's both woods and stream. It says it's impassable. But it's a woods hex. You know what? Since which one takes precedent? I'm going to say that it's a stream hex, and I can't enter into there. So we'll go 1, 2, and then 3 to get into there. Okay, I don't believe cultivated blocks line of sight. Because the only line of sight blockers are woods and villages. Let's see. Thread passes through blocking hex or hex as the fire is blocked. Okay, so what is actually considered a blocking line of sight? Blocking terrains, woods, city, or hill hex, 2 or more rough or rec hexes, or combination therefore rough. And I believe cultivated is not considered rough. Got to check, make sure that. Let's see. I do not believe so. Yeah, because there is actually a separate line for rough. All right, so basically, these guys could fire the ATGs or the ASU 85s. You know what? Let's go ahead with the ATGs. The ATGs will go ahead and fire. And its stat, since we're firing at a non-armored vehicle, yes, I know it is an armored vehicle, but it is not a armored vehicle like a tank. Oh, no, I guess it is. It's a 1-6. Hold on, there's something about that. It's got a little silly little rule how it determines the difference between armored, and light armored. Okay, thin-skinned and unarmored vehicles. AFVs with an armor factor of 1 and a save value of 5 or 6 are considered thin-skinned or lightly armored vehicles. Such vehicles may be attacked by any AFV using its high explosive firepower. All right. So, high explosive firepower. Actually, it's better if I shot armor piercing. But it looks like we're not going to do that. So, range of 4, 2 dice at a 6 to hit. Let's go ahead. Put an ops complete autofocus, damn it. I keep hitting the autofocus button, but it doesn't seem to take. There we go. So 2 dice at a 6 to hit. 5 and 4. The ATGs are not hitting much of anything today. All right, so let's continue with the leopard formation. Let's go ahead and take this unit. Go 1, 2, 3. However, that's more than half of his movement. So he is not going to be able to fire. You know what? In for a penny, in for a pound. 4, 5. Let's move him to there. So now these guys are marked as ops complete. So they can't op fire while those leopards are moving around. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there, and that'll put those leopards in a good position to cover this way. And we don't have to worry about the recon unit because the recon unit is a recon unit, so it can never be out of command anyways. So I'll mark those guys as ops complete. All right, pull into the cup next for the next super secret chit. And it is 3 174 Panzer again. Now this is where the NATO strength kind of comes into play. They can activate multiple times in a turn. Remove all ops complete markers. Roll for any disrupted units. No units are disrupted. Roll for command and control. They're right next to each other, so I don't need to roll for command and control. Recon units don't have to worry about command and control. All right, now into operations. Let's see. High explosive. Let's see. The Luch actually does have, I think it's got like a 20 or 25 millimeter chain gun on it. Its high explosive is 4, range of 4, 2 dice at 5. So I think they're going to fire at the ATGs. 1, 2, 3, that's well within range. So 2 dice at 5, so they got 2 dice at 5 to hit. Three and 3, so that's big misses. Luch is firing off at the ATGs, don't hit anything. All right, so I think this leopard is going to fire. Now again, you can only fire at one target. So they're going to fire at the disrupted T-72s that are in the city over here. So again, looking at their stats, armor piercing, range 9, 4 dice at a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, they're in range now. So they get 4 dice at a 3. And we have 3 hits. So we'll mark that as a 3. The T-72 has 4 dice at a 6, but they're in the city, so they get a 5th dice. So 5 dice at 6. 1 hit. All right, so that reduces it from 1 to 2. Okay, so they're already disrupted, or at least the disrupted unit is where's the disrupted marker? Is disrupted. So if he's already disrupted, he takes 1 step loss, which will be the first hit. And then the second hit will eliminate the second step. So completely eliminated that unit. And puts a wreck marker, although I don't think it really matters if you put a wreck marker in the woods or in the buildings. But we'll do it anyways, just for proprietary sake. So we've got 1 dead T-72 already. That leopard is ops complete. And the other leopard is going to fire at the disrupted and reduced step unit that it shot at earlier as part of its op fire. So it gets 4 dice, but it's stacked with a headquarters unit. So it gets 2 more dice. So it gets 6 dice at 6s, or no, at 3s. And we have, wow, not good shooting. 2 hits. So the T-72 has 4 dice plus 1 for the defensive position that it's in. At target number 6, 1 hit or 1 save. So that reduces it to 1. Now, it's already disrupted. And it takes another disrupted hit, which will eliminate a step, and it's already reduced, so it's eliminated as well. So already we've got 2 platoons of T-72s that are burning there in that poor little village. What's the poor little village's name? Does it even have a name? Eben. And I'm sure a bunch of buildings have gotten shot up as well. And I'm sure there was some splash from the artillery strike that struck over here. All right, so that'll end that. And let's go ahead. Next formation marker. Oh, forgot to mention. The Soviets didn't get any turns last turn because we pulled the 2 intern markers. So we kept 2 of the intern markers, all but 1 of the intern markers out. Formation was activated. So the 2 intern markers went back in. Should have done this. May have had an impact, but you know, whatever. We can't go back and retcon that. So let's see what we got. Uh-oh. It's an intern marker. Great. There's 1 intern marker. Shuffle up the goody cup of opaqueness. And draw the next one. All right, what do we got there? It looks like 2nd Airborne. That is 2nd Airborne. So 2nd Airborne gets to activate. All right, so a couple different options. Well, actually not even really a couple different options with the 2nd Airborne. So let's go ahead and remove the ops complete marker from the opportunity fire. Is everybody within command and control radius? Command and control is 4, 1, 2, 3. Yep, everybody's within command radius. There is no disrupted, so I don't have to roll anything. So what can the unit do? All right, well, the infantry sure isn't going to be able to do anything because even with their AP firepower, the range is only a 2, extended out to a 4. That's not really within range to hit anything. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's even out of range for the infantry to hit the recon vehicle. So really, the only units that do have range are the mortars. They've got a range of 14, and that's a hard limit. If you see the underline underneath the range, that means it can't go extended. So we got 14 hexes. The mortar could fire HE at the Lush. And I don't think we can see, I don't think the headquarters unit, because headquarters can call in artillery with the mortar, like they would with a normal artillery strike at a 2-5. I don't think I've got line of sight on either one of those hexes. Again, let's go old school. Yeah, it just clips the tree art right there. So we can't see 171 Panzergrenadier. So yeah, all right. So let's go ahead. Let's call the artillery strike. Let's call the mortar strike down on the Luche. So that's 2-5. Now, since they're out of line of sight, it has to be called in like a normal artillery strike from the headquarters. So as you can see, a normal artillery strike is roll a d6, 1 through 5 it hits, 6 it misses and shifts 1 hex. Now they don't have the jamming like the West Germans do in this scenario, so a 5 would be considered a hit on target. So we got a 4, so it lands on target. So it's going to be a 2-5 artillery strike in there of high explosive. And nope, no hits. So we peppered that hex with some artillery, but it was ineffective. I do also have a Sager anti-missile system that I can use. Well, I could. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could. Yeah, you know what? It may not be a bad idea. Loose the Sagers at those leopards up there. Let's go ahead and put ops complete on the mortar. Put them to the bottom of the hex. Oh, crap. I just realized. Mortar's a support weapon. Okay, so we're going to have to move an infantry out of that hex. It's not a support weapon, so it's a full unit, so you can only have 2 units per hex. So we'll just go ahead and move the infantry into the woods. That doesn't change things any. Now, if the headquarters unit had been attached to this infantry here, then I could have seen over here to fire the artillery at the martyrs, but I'm not. So, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and pop the Sager. Let's go ahead and use this infantry to pop the Sager. So it's range of 14. It's definitely within range. 3 dice at 4s to hit. So let's go ahead and move them under the ops complete marker. 3 dice at 4s to hit. And we're going to shoot. I hate, like I said, I hate headquarters hunting, so we're just going to shoot down the line to this one right here. Or would they shoot at the closest? They probably would shoot at the closest unit. So that's how I kind of keep myself from headquarters hunting. It's like, all right, what logically, which unit would they shoot at? So we're going to say they're going to shoot at the closest unit, which is this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 hexes, well within range. 3 dice at a 4 to hit with the Sagers. 1 hit. So let's go ahead and put 1 dice there to remind myself how many hits they've taken. Now let's just go ahead. Their armor is a 4-5. So they've got 4 dice at a 5, but they're in the woods. What does the woods give them? Woods gives them... Nope, that's a wreck. Woods. Defensive bonus 1. So they'll actually get 5 dice at a 5 to try to negate the hits. Yeah, they got a 5 and a 6, so that's 2 saves, which is greater than the 1 hit that the Sager put on them, so no hits right there. Or no effect, I should say. Take a look at the ASU and the ATG. Let's go ahead and fire with the ASU first. I think we want to leave the ATG as having not fired because I think we may need to use those to fire on the martyrs if they come around the corner here. So the ASU 85 is going to fire. It has to fire its high explosive. So range of 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 hexes is fine. And it's a 2-5. So 2 dice at 5s to hit. On the Luche Recon. Too bad you can't add the die. I've often fiddled with trying to make a combat system that used to hit numbers, and if you had... Okay, so this, you need target number 5, it's a miss. However, I've also what I've wanted to do is that you could combine dice, and if the extra dice added up to hit, then it would still be a hit. So you're pouring 2 dice at them. You could potentially get 2 hits, but technically we got no hits on this one because they were 2 and a 3. But under my systems, 2 and 3 added together would be a 5. Now, I don't know how balanced that would be. I've never really worked too deep into it, but you know, it's a system I've thought about doing several times in the past. Because so many times it's like, I rolled 2 dice, they both missed, but if I could add them together, it would have been a hit. So yeah. Maybe one of these days. All right, so we'll go ahead and mark the ASU as ops complete, and we're going to leave the T12 anti-tank guns for opportunity fire, basically. So, yeah, there we go. That's going to be the end for 2nd Airborne. And shaking up our handy-dandy opaque cup of opaqueness. Now, what do we got here? 171 Panzer Grenadier. So this is going to be the infantry. 171 Panzer Grenadier. Basically, what I just do is I just set out the markers here to the side so I can see how many, it doesn't matter where you put them as long as you have them in one area and you can see how many intern chits you've pulled already. All right, so 171 Panzer Grenadier. What are they going to do? Well, the headquarters could call an artillery. Oh, actually, no, I can't. They're in concealing terrain. I don't think, unless a unit is marked with an ops complete, I don't think. There it is, the rule for concealing terrain. Again, another one of those rules I tend to overlook and forget. Even my opponents that I normally play with, we usually forget about that as well. But infantry, if the target is in the same hex as a wreck marker or occupies wood, city, rough or cultivated, infantry only terrain, and is not under an ops complete marker, moving adjacent to a good order friendly unit or within the line of sight of a good order friendly reconnaissance unit, it is concealed. Add 1 dice to the defensive bonus terrain concealed units. Okay. So basically what that means is if someone is in concealing terrain, i.e. city, woods, wreck marker, cultivated, and they are not under an ops complete marker and not within line of sight of a recon unit and don't have somebody that's adjacent to them, long-winded way of saying that, then they're concealed and they get a bonus dice. So I could call in my artillery strike, but I'm not going to do it yet because that'll be 3 dice at 4, and then they'll get 2 dice defense, and yeah, it's not even worth it at this point. Okay, so what are we going to do? Let's go ahead and go 1. And even with high explosive, the range on the infantry is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right there, that's where the kill zone starts, right there. 1, 2, and you know what? Since we're behind here, behind the woods, they're screening us. The infantry are going to jump out, and that takes half the move to do. I think the infantry can also move 1 more hex. Let's go ahead and look at transport units, unloading. Infantry unit may then move 1 additional hex. There we go. So I can unload and I can still move 1 additional hex. It doesn't say 1 movement point. This is 1 additional hex. So I could move right into there, setting myself up next turn to be able to start putting fire on those ATGs. Which I think we're going to do. Now, of course, those ATGs, now see, okay, they're not under an ops complete marker yet, I don't believe. Because they're fine. Yeah, they're not under an ops. You place the ops complete after they're done moving, and opportunity fire is at the moment they move into the hex. Right. So no opportunity. They're not under ops complete, so that means they're technically still concealed. The ATG's got 4 dice. It's 2 dice at 6 with high explosive. Yeah, they might as well. I mean, I doubt there's going to be anything else they're going to be able to shoot at. So 2 dice at 6 against the infantry moving into the woods with high explosive. 3 and 1. Nope, nothing. And the T12 ATG goes under ops complete. Now, infantry don't have move and fire. It can't move and fire. It's one or the other. Let's make sure I got that right, because the move and fire, yeah, it's under the high explosive dice. There isn't a slash underneath the high explosive firepower, so no move and fire. So next, so that's them. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Unload the infantry because we're still at half our movement, and they will go ahead procedurally. That should have got an ops complete marker. So the other unit moves up, unloads, moves into the hex as well. Ops complete. Again, like I was saying, you get to the bigger scenarios. You know, I'm down to 5 ops complete markers left and disrupted units. There's never enough markers to go around. Again, if I had one of the other box sets with more administrative markers, it wouldn't be an issue, but I don't have any of the other box sets. So that's going to be it for 171 Panzer Grenadier. Pull another chit. And what do we got? 171 Panzer Grenadier again. Again, we're starting to see the strength of NATO forces with their multiple command markers. All right, so remove ops complete markers. Check for command and control. Command and control is range 5 hexes. They're adjacent to each other, so no worry about command and control. No disrupted units. So, yay! Now we get to do something. What I could do, I'm going to leave the headquarters unit back. I could move the headquarters unit up here, and he'll give his command rating of 2 to one of the firepowers of one of the units. But then if they get shot at, and there's a chance that the HQ wouldn't push themselves forward. They'll stay back right where they're at. All right, so the 2 infantry, both of them are the same. They're range of 2, 1, 2, so they're within range. And their firepower is 2 at 5. So they get 2 dice at 5s to hit. So the first one will fire at the ATGs, and that's nothing. And the second one will do the exact same thing. And that's nothing again. All right, so whole bunch of nothing from that. Are the martyrs going to move? No, the martyrs are not going to move. We're going to not push on the city, or we're not going to push on the village until we get those units eliminated, or at least one of them eliminated. All right, well, that's going to be it for 171 Panzer, or 171 Panzer Grenadier. We're getting low. We've got one, I think we've got 2 in-turn markers and 1 tank formation marker left. What do we got? That's it, end turn. So that is going to end the turn, because there's our first end turn marker, there's our second end turn marker. All right, so all markers, all formation markers, go back into the cup. Both sides have had a formation activate, so no in-turn markers are left out. All ops complete markers are removed. Ops complete. I do not believe there's anything else that we do in the end of turn bookkeeping. End of turn. Where is it? Assault, artillery. Actually, at the end of turn, we don't remove all ops complete. At the beginning of the next turn, we remove all ops complete. So yeah, basically it's the same thing, same way of getting there. We're getting there the same, we're just doing it a little bit differently. So we're going to move it on to turn 3. No units come on, and that is the state of things at the end of turn 2. T-72s have taken a little bit of damage. There's a couple platoons that have been knocked out so far, but the T-72s are now in position to start putting some fire on those leopards off in the distance. And the infantry is trying to clear out the ATG and the ASU-85 so they can push on to the village. And that's the status. I used my 1 artillery strike, which was a whole bunch of nothing. That's depressing. So I'll go ahead and remove that from the game and just put it back in my artillery deck. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section. I'll see everybody next time. See ya!